The last time that Kilmar Abrego Garcia was put on an airplane, he did not know where that airplane was flying to until it landed at the airport in El Salvador. What we're trying to do here is to make sure that that doesn't happen again a second time. The government has expressed that as soon as Mr. Abrego Garcia is released from criminal custody, which we are confident will happen next week, their intention is to redeport him to a third country. Which one? I don't know. It's now been 2 hearings at which they've reiterated that and stated that, and yet they've declined or said that they don't know which country. So for about the 5th or 6th time in this case, the government is trying the trick of sending its lawyers into court with inadequate information, with insufficient information. This time, Judge Zinnes was not willing to let the government lawyers get away with saying, we don't really know, we don't know where he's going to be sent, we don't know what the plan is. And so what she ordered is that on Thursday afternoon, a Department of Homeland Security official is going to have to come before this court and answer questions and tell the court what the actual plan is for Mr. Abrego Garcia. If they want to deport him to a third country, they need to name that country, and they need to describe the process by which they're going to give him due process, which is to say, an opportunity to state a defense, to raise a case before an immigration judge as to why he shouldn't be sent to whatever that third country is. This is not a hypothetical fear. This is exactly what happened to the people who were sent to Libya. This is exactly what happened to the people who were sent to South Sudan. And the government considers that they can do this in any case. When we first picked up Mr. Abrego Garcia's case, we thought it was like a crazy, one-off, never going to be repeated type of situation. And what we learned in the months since then is it was actually just the tip of the spear. Hundreds upon hundreds of Marylanders who have prior grants of withholding of removal, right, who have previously won their cases in immigration court, are now being arrested by the Trump administration. In Mr. Abrego Garcia's case, they sent him to the one country they weren't allowed to send him to, El Salvador. That blew up in their face. They're not doing that anymore. And now what they're doing is this whole third country gambit where they send people to really random third countries to which they don't have any connection to. Since day one of this case, the government's strategy has been to send its lawyers into court with no information or insufficient information, right? So when the Department of Justice lawyers say that they don't know where he's being sent to, that could be. But if that's the case, it's the result of a deliberate strategy by the Department of Homeland Security not to communicate with the lawyers who are going into court. 2 weeks ago, Mr. Abrego Garcia's criminal legal defense team needed to essentially file a request postponing the release out of Tennessee just to give this court time to act, right? To give Judge Zinnes sufficient time to hold today's hearing. At today's hearing, she determined she needs an evidentiary hearing. She's doing that on Thursday. It's an incredibly compressed time frame. I'm confident that she's going to rule on our motion to bring him to Maryland prior to July 16th. The purpose of bringing him before this courthouse is to put him in the ex ante position, right? In the position he was before the unlawful arrest. As Judge Zinnes said, I think it was this is now the 4th hearing in which she's mentioned it. There was no warrant for his arrest. He was arrested completely without a warrant. Justice Sotomayor also raised that point in her concurrence in the Supreme Court case. If they want to take another run at it and do the process legally and correctly, we will defend that in immigration court.